I always say this, communication is key and urgency is everything. And I believe in this industry, urgency has a lot to do, and building a relationship with your clients and delivering what you promise. It's basically what has made me strong. I would not go in somewhere promising the world when I know it's not going to happen. If there is anything that was promised and I cannot accomplish, I will pick up that phone, call my client, and let them know what the situation is and work out a plan as to what the next step will be.
Welcome to Work Now's Humans of Staffing podcast. My name is Sammy Singh, along with my host, TJ Sammy.
Hi, my name is TJ Sammy, the co-founder of Work Now.
Work Now is a leading provider of software for the staffing industry.
Being in the industry for the last 30 years,
Not only have we run staffing agencies, but we've been in software in the staffing business for the past 20 to 25 years.
our focus is, in addition to other aspects of the staffing industry, will be on how emerging technology is impacting the staffing industry.
What we want to learn from this podcast, if you're interested, is how do recruiters do their jobs? What can they do that you can learn from?
How our guests are overcoming those challenges and the opportunities they'll see in the future.
The owners, what challenges do they face? As well as the temps that work in this business and what do they need for this industry to thrive. So the goal of this podcast is learn and understand where it's going, where it's been, and hopefully you get some value out of this podcast. Welcome to Work Now's Humans of Staffing podcast. We want to welcome Juliana Bojorquez, CEO of First Staffing Group, based right here in Southern California. Welcome, Juliana.
Thank you, guys. Thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
Welcome. Good to have you here. As we know, it's the fourth podcast for us, so we are nervous as hell.
Tell me about it. My first one, so definitely nervous.
So for that case, let's just kind of start. This is a casual conversation. We're all here to learn a lot about you. This is about you. We, of course, as Work Now, we consider ourselves the leading staffing software for the staffing industry. And part of that is you're our customer, and we want to make sure that we get to learn more about you, your business, your success, as well as the challenges you faced in the industry, right? So tell us about yourself. How did you get into this business? Whatever you feel like talking about.
So hello again. My name is Juliana Bojorquez. I am the CEO for Staffing Group, established in 2020. I come with 15 years of experience in the staffing world. I started as a receptionist. I was a single mom at the time. One of my friends called me and said, "Hey, we have a job opening. Can you start tomorrow?" I said, "Yes, I will be there." And I started. I was basically a receptionist in the recruiting department from this agency I used to work for. And that's how I started my recruiting experience. And after that, it was just a passion. Till this day, it's a passion. I love doing what I do. Even now that I have my own company, I wear multiple hats. I'm a people person. I love to recruit. I love to talk to people. And I think that's where my success has taken me. And here I am now, having my own company. After 15 years of experience, I opened up First Staffing Group with the pandemic. A lot of people told me not to do it. A lot of people were actually telling me it was not that easy. And I knew it was not going to be easy. But if I was already doing it for other people and I was running other people's business, very limited as to how I was able to handle different situations and deal with clients and, make sure that my clients were satisfied, I said, why not? Let me do it. And I did. I had a mentor, someone that actually has been in the industry for over 25 years, that does not have his own company, but was literally there for me every step of me opening First Staffing Group, because mind you, I knew everything of the recruiting operations, everything of sales. I had started doing sales with the previous company, but I had no idea when it came to workers' comp, general liability, claims, funding, when it came to injuries. I knew how to report an injury, but I didn't know what was the next step of it. So he definitely walked me through this until now. If I'm stuck somewhere, I give him a call, and we are competition because at the end of the day, we're all in the same industry. I might had gone to some of his clients, and once I knew he was there, because of the loyalty and because of the respect I have for him, I stepped away. But to this day, I call him and he can walk me through anything that I'm stuck and I'm not familiar with. And, I'm very grateful for that.
That's a very inspiring story. I always like to ask this question because we've been through a similar type of background and then deciding one day to have our own companies, right? What was that trigger or that tipping point for you? So here you are, you're a receptionist, you become a recruiter, you probably got exposed to all the operational side, the safety concerns, the HR issues that come in.
Right.
At what point did you decide that now I'm going to do my own thing? What was that factor there?
That I knew I was capped out in the company where I was employed. I knew that I couldn't climb that ladder no more because there was people there that had been there for 10, 15 years, but I was actually doing their job. They were out in the field and I was in my offices. I was running 5 offices, driving from Orange to LA, from LA to Norwalk. So I said, why not? I'm already doing someone else's job. I am running, I had a position of an operation manager, but I was actually the VP because I was basically making decisions, and decisions that I was making at the time and were basically, getting escalated to corporate, were getting approved. So I said, well, there's something that I'm doing right. Common sense, it's common sense. Right. But I had the experience, and my clients that I was dealing with were very happy to the point where I left the company, and a year after, I started getting calls as to, where did you go? Come visit me. Why? Because of the service that I was providing through the company I was working from.
So there was that pivot point do you recall, just leading on that question, was there a day and a time that you remember? Because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship happens with some trigger that occurred, right?
Yes.
There has to be a trigger. It's not always money. Majority of the time, it's about independence and growth.
Right.
That's what most people want. Money is a byproduct of it.
Right.
Do you recall a day? Do you recall a situation? Anything that you recall? Because a lot of people go through that themselves.
Right.
And they're always on that edge. Do I do this or do I not do this? And I'm sure you went that as well.
Right. I do recall when I left the company I was with for 9 years, where I gained most of my experience. A lot of doors were open. And I'm very grateful for that as well. I felt like I had capped out on a position. I felt like I was doing more than my current position at the time. And I had a lot of basically ideas and things I wanted to change within the operations, and I was not allowed to. And then after that, basically I got offered a position with a temp agency that had been just out for 2 years, where I thought, well, they've only been out 2 years. I have, 10 plus years of experience. Why not? I can basically help them out and, run their operations and make sure that, what I wanted was to be challenged. I love to be out. I love to be solving problems. And I felt like that with the company I was with for 9 years, everything was basically under control. My clients, my staff, my team, everything was handled where I would come in days and it was just, we were in peak season, mind you, but I had a wonderful team. Every office, they needed guidance, they would call me, but everyone knew their jobs and their roles. So basically, they were handling their own office. So at that time, I said, well, I want to get challenged. I want to be challenged. Why not? So I spoke to my VP and I told him, he offered me a better pay. And I said, it's not the pay. I am very thankful, but I just feel like I need to go out and explore more options for me. And I believe this is a great opportunity for me. So I left. They let me finish my 2 weeks, which is very rare for staffing. Right away, they think, let them go. They're taking our information, our clients, especially with the access I had. Yeah. They let me finish 2 weeks. I got a call from the owner. and basically thanked me for everything I had done for her for the past 9 years. And I went and explored with this staffing agency that had been open for 2 years. When I basically started with them, everything was going great. After a few decisions and protocols I wanted to change based on my experience and based on the success that I had in the previous staffing company I was with, and I wanted to implement, things were just shut down. They didn't want to make any changes. And the customer service there was just horrible for the clients they currently had. They had great clients, but unfortunately the customer service and the team was not there. So then I thought to myself, COVID hit. They started laying off everyone. Everybody was working from home. I was one of the ones that was actually able to come into the office every day and oversee operations. So then I said, well, if I'm doing it for someone else, why not do it for myself? I had so many ideas. I wanted to bring clients with me because I was getting calls. I've been with this phone number for the last 10 years. So everyone had my phone number. So I was getting calls. Hey, Juliana, where'd you go? Stop by, visit me.
Yeah.
And, after I decided to open my own agency, I reached out to those clients because I felt secure and I was able to promise something that I was going to be able to deliver because I was running the show. It was now my company, and I was running based on how they were being treated in the previous company I serviced them from.
What is your superpower?
My superpower. I always say this: communication is key and urgency is everything. And I believe in this industry, urgency has a lot to do, and building a relationship with your clients and delivering what you promise. It's basically what has made me strong. I would not go in somewhere promising the world when I know it's not going to happen. If there is anything that was promised and I cannot accomplish, I will pick up that phone, call my client, and let them know what the situation is and work out a plan as to what the next step will be.
So with these principles, right, these core values you have, you started in 2020. If you can share with us, what has been the growth since then? Like, it doesn't have to be in revenues, right? Just even temp employees, or how have you grown? How many branches have you opened up?
Of course.
It's been 5 years.
Yes. So I currently have 4 branches out here in Southern California.
Okay.
We do service multiple cities remotely.
Okay.
And also we are servicing Texas. Right now we're working on our 5th office in the city of Anaheim. We just acquired a big rollover that we're very proud of.
Okay.
And we are in the lookout for a 5th office now.
Oh,
Wow.
amazing.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
It's going to be a long time. This is honestly, it's a fun conversation to hear this. So going back a little bit too, what surprised you most? Because I'll give you the mindset of when you're running a business versus when you are working for a business. And when you work for someone, your role is defined. You kind of have a structure, guaranteed a paycheck,
Right.
right? All the above. And you really do look up and say, my God, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Why do they make more money? They make less money, right?
Right.
What has changed now if you had to put yourself in the same shoes back and forth? I know that was my journey, big journey of understanding why they did what they did. Because the responsibility is yours. Every liability is yours,
Right.
right? So tell us, what changed from the bright eyes that you had when you went in? So let's talk about 3 things that turned out worse than you thought, and 3 things that you think turned out much better than you thought. And they don't have to be 3.
Okay.
You could just do one each, but just giving you an option on both. What shocked you and what you were like, wow, this is awesome.
Right. So I think what shocked me the most, that I was not familiar with the back end of this, would be the workers' comp.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to workers' comp, how important it is and how pricey it is as well. Not only that, just knowing the importance of having a protocol and following that protocol to make sure that whenever those claims come in, we are safe to say we're okay. I think that's the biggest one. Also, having reserves. It's not just profit, spend, but having reserves for the day of tomorrow. That I think where it came, acquiring new clients, and you have a funding company where you have a credit limit, just like a credit card. And they say, well, you're only approved for this much, but that client is ready to sign. And you're like, well, what if I have reserves for a month and a half of payroll for them? What if I have 2 months? I actually came to that with one of my clients. And thankfully, because of the way I've been running my business for 5 years, it could be good today, it could be bad tomorrow. We never know. But the fun fact is that I've always thought about having First Staffing Group for a long run. It's not just, let's see where it goes. I want to make sure First Staffing Group, it's here for my kids, for my grandkids. It's just, I'm looking at a long run, and, having this reserves, it's not been the most difficult, but it has been something that has been keeping my company alive. That 2024 was not as great as 2022, 2021, 2020, where the demand for labor was so high, where, we had clients asking for 20, 30 temps, and, we were busy. We were busy all across. 2024 was actually not as good as other years. But because of the way I've handled the cash flow for First Staffing Group, I can say that we are in a safe place. Me and my team is in a safe place.
Which is big thing to be said for staff.
Big thing. Very big.
It's huge.
Huge. Back to the client that was ready to sign, we were able to get, a credit approved for him, but not for a whole month or two based on a 30-day term. But I said, I will cover once we hit the mark of the credit limit. And by then we should be receiving payments, and we save, on funding charges that we will be getting. So I'm very proud to always say that I've always thought about having those reserves for the company to make sure that I keep First Staffing Group alive, and my team as well.
And what was the one thing that you were, thank God now, or these were the challenges?
Yes.
So as being an entrepreneur, switching from being an employee to an entrepreneur, what were the things that you loved? What are the things where you wake up and go, thank God? That's
a good one. I mean, I always thank God for the growth that my company has been having since we opened. I feel like that's big. That's a good one. I will have to come back to that one.
Well, it's enjoy to.
I mean, it's the freedom, right? As well, to execute ideas that you truly believe in.
Yes, to execute ideas with my team, and we've been in business for 5 years, and every day it's different. Every day is a challenge. Every day it's like, okay, we have a meeting at 2, let's get together. How are we going to handle this situation? Now we've experienced so many situations where we already have a protocol on file, but we didn't have all these protocols on file because these are, things that I've probably never dealt before opening my own company, things that I would call corporate and will get passed through. And it's like, let me know what the answer is. And I would, make sure I deliver that to my team. So just having, I think that's a challenge right there. That's been a challenge, to be able to resolve problems without having the experience, but making sure that we're doing things the right way.
Well, now the phone call is coming to you.
Oh, all the phone calls are coming to me.
The phone call ends there, right?
I don't have days off. My girls are always like, they text me first, are you in? Even if I'm not in, I'm the only one that's going to answer your questions. So call me. I'm available 24/7. So that's definitely something that, I have not experienced being on vacation with no phone calls or no emails. And even if they're not calling me and I see an email, I get the phone and say, hey, this happened. Make sure we do this. Make sure you handle it this way. Call me if you need anything. That's just me. I am always working. Always.
And there's a part of joy in that too. Right?
Yes.
So when you don't have it, you'll also hate it. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because it's not really work, right? At the end of the day, it's like just who you are.
Yes. I said, this is a passion for me. So I'm always open to hearing my girls out on anything they have going on.
I'll just ask you one question on the personal accomplishments, and then we can move on to other topics. You mentioned you had a mentor, right, that
Yes.
you went to and he guided you. But there's a certain aspect of every business that you've got to learn on your own.
Right.
So, for example, you mentioned workers' comp. Another area in staffing agencies we see is financial literacy. And I just don't mean, receivables and payables. It's the cash flows. How do you manage it? How do you educate yourself today or when you first started? Like, what do you go about? Like, is it YouTube videos? Is it you take a course? Or like, how do you learn in areas that you're...
So I am very open, not just me, but my whole team. We do a lot of training, seminars, especially, if they email us that they're free. Every year we get invited from Cal Chamber for new laws.
Okay.
Basically, the posters are changing, anything. And even though I have an HR, even though I have, someone takes care of legal, I'm always enrolled in those seminars.
Got it.
I like to make sure that if there's something going on, I am very educated and familiar with what's going on and make sure that I can answer any questions. So yes, we do take a lot of courses, seminars, and that's basically how we do it at First Staffing.
Got it.
Before we started the podcast, you mentioned that you like to be prepared for it.
Yes.
Right? How has that served you well? How has that, give an example of when you being prepared saved you, where you can be, or do you think that is a habit that has really caused you to grow because you're always looking ahead and getting prepared? It's more about others learning about you in a way and maybe adopting some habits, because each one of us has there are things that we're not good at,
Right.
or others have their own superpowers, right?
Right.
So how has that served you? And then right after that is, what would you wish other agencies, that what you're getting right and others have not got it right?
So I'll give you an example and just how I run my business. I basically am the one running sales. I don't have a sales team under me, which I'm very proud of, that I'm out doing the sales. And I just don't go knock on anyone's door. I basically canvas the area, come back to my office, do a report, run XMODs, run them through my workers' comp to make sure that we're able to service them based on their XMODs. And after, come in here, try to get in the door as to whoever makes a decision and just show them how I have done my studies and I know who they are. And I know that my team could be a great asset to their company. So that's basically an example as to how I get prepared. And mind you, driving over here, I literally posted on my Instagram how I was coming in for my first podcast and I was so nervous because I had no control.
Yeah.
I asked for a questionnaire maybe to review and make sure that I was well prepared. It was not given to me. So I was very nervous on my way here. But then again, because every time I come into a meeting, every time I come into, someone even introducing me to a software, introducing me to a program that it could be utilized in my company, I like to do a research to make sure that I ask questions, or if questions are being asked, I'm able to answer them.
I love what you just said. That's a golden nugget for anybody in the staffing business, because most of the time we knock on doors, you look at 100 temps, you get tempted, you go chase that account, you spend 6 months chasing that account, then realize the XMOD sucks and they have the worst credit rating.
Right.
And you can't even do business with them.
Exactly.
So to everybody in the staffing business, that's a golden nugget. That
It is.
if that could just be implemented across, is now it gives us a very good idea of why you succeeded so quickly.
Right.
Partly because of that. That is just one component of it that has caused it.
Well,
And mind you, I actually, I'm not perfect, but this happened at the beginning where we were seeing that we were, wasting our time or wasting, people's time. So we came to a conclusion and said, it's actually 3 of us that do sales, my 2 branch managers and myself. We have sales meetings every month. We're not 100% committed to sales, but we're out there trying to acquire new clients. And we said, well, let's run them prior to even, submitting anything to the potential client where now we're going to say, I'm sorry, we cannot service you because of your workers' comp. It's not going to look good for us either. So we came through those challenges. You know, it happened to us, and that's where we learned, well, this is what we have to do in order to be successful and not waste our time when we can be knocking on someone else's door.
So your group, whenever you guys have showed up, of course, you always have your merchandise on.
Yes.
Everybody's dressed in a very professional way. Run us by a little bit of what your onboarding is, right? Because obviously you have one of the most professional groups that comes in. And by God, honestly, even when we had met maybe on Work Now's Lunch and Learn, must have been 4 years ago, not 5. You were probably the only group, or maybe one of the 2 groups that actually came in professional. They had their t-shirts on. You didn't have to guess which agency you're from. And I've always admired that. And it stood out. Give us a little bit about what that philosophy is or what that mindset is that you've used.
Like I said, I've been in the business for 15 years, and it's changed a lot when it comes to this specifically topic, where nowadays you don't see so many people out there dressed professionally. There's people out there trying to do sales, dressed an inappropriate dress code, and just giving another view to what they're offering and what are they there for. When it comes to First Staffing Group, my girls know that if we're coming out and doing sales, we're in slacks, our working clothes, which is our shirt with our logo, and making sure that the first impression, it's that we're professional. We're there for business, and that's all that we're there for.
That's made a big difference.
Big difference. It has. Definitely. Definitely. And I can sit here and say, my clients that I have, they know the respect, they know the boundaries, they know that we're there to do business, and that, you know, we're there to help. We're a partnership.
Technology-wise, I know we've also been a part of it. Obviously, you saw that, okay, we've always tried ourselves to be on the edge, in the front of technology, versus looking at trends. And because we come from staffing, we've been at it 30 years now.
Right.
Staffing business. Hopefully we understand, but we learn something new every day.
Right.
What are you looking forward to in 2025, and beyond? I'll talk on the business itself, how it's changing.
Right.
And anything on that could include technology, that could include anything. How do you think, first, let's talk about immigration. How do you think that's changing the business first in 2025 and 2026?
Let's be realistic. California, it's a big part of having undocumented people working at a lot of the warehouses. And I'll be realistic. There is even warehouses where they're directly hired because they know these people have been there for 5, 10, 15 years. We've come across. I believe it will be a big challenge. We're hoping that, all the news out there that come with the ICE raids and all that won't happen. I come from immigrant parents where it hits home. And it's a very sensitive topic for me.
And for every immigrant, because we all in the same boat,
right?
Do you think it will affect percentage-wise, in especially where folks show up rates will change? Have you heard of fear that is there because you're calling temps and saying, hey, get to work, and some of them are like, gosh, I can't drive now, I can't do this. Has there been, even in companies, let's talk about your clients.
Right.
Are you seeing anything from your clients where they're showing concern?
I will give you an example. I have a produce company that their product comes from up north. Okay. And my client was working 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days out of the week. It's produce. Everyone consumes produce every day at home. We actually had to cut hours for our temps because there's no one up north cutting vegetables out in the field. Why? Because they're scared to show up. And we literally, if we were working 7 days out of the week, right now we're working 4 days, 8 hours a day. There's no produce to be packed. There's no produce to be shipped out. So it's definitely hurting, companies that are obtaining product from up north from the field where undocumented people is basically working in order for us to continue the job out here in our warehouses. So it definitely has affected us. Like I said, we're hoping this changes and hoping that we get some type of reform. That's literally what I would love for it to happen in the United States, just because we have so many hardworking people that go out to work for minimum wage at companies that are getting no benefits, that companies that are not offering anything for them because they know that they won't be getting hired through the companies. So I definitely have seen a big impact when it comes to my clients that are working with, produce, food manufacturing companies, all that.
Do you feel this there's going to be an impact, especially now with tariffs coming in as of yesterday before? Have you heard anything from your clients where the volumes of the 3PLs, because most of them are offloading containers from China, Mexico, Canada, right? Those are Canada not as much, but mainly Mexico and China. Have you heard anything from your customers? Because 3PL typically is the first one.
Right. We have not. But we do have one of our clients that we do forecast for the following month, and we were already seeing it last month.
Got it.
The workforce is not there. And we're, it's a clothing company where, summer's coming. We should be getting busy in March. We had our meeting last month, and there's no peak. So I seen it with this company, and I'm pretty sure we will see it with the rest of the clients that are actually out in the LA area by the port and stuff like that.
So it's the forecast where the demand is there, but the workforce is not there?
No, there's no demand right now. So we don't have a demand. We have the workforce. We're actually cutting hours or, just working 8 hours a day, but there's no peak on hours or overtime being offered to our temps.
Do the companies, because this is always these are waves that come up and down.
Right.
COVID cannot be compared to all of this because
Never.
that was they call it the honeymoon phase for the staffing business.
Exactly.
And today it's different. So in 2025 and 26, are you seeing any trend in technology where you think you're excited about? Like, gosh, I'm so happy this new technology is coming. This could help us in business this way. Or another way is, hey, I wish technology did this for this business. It would be so awesome. I'll give you an example. We couldn't dream of texting back and forth with a temp. It was like, because we were all too scared to give our personal phone numbers to everybody.
Right.
Then came along, you could text from your own, right? You can text. It's a business text. Nobody's afraid to text it.
Right.
It's the norm today. Is there anything technology that you've seen that you would love to see inside of the staffing business that us in this business could also look at saying, hey, Juliana, we could solve these specific problems?
You can look at it even at a point of view of your clients, right? What maybe you're providing them reports on a weekly basis.
Right.
Or maybe you're not providing them enough analytics on a weekly or monthly or quarterly basis.
Okay.
Like if you're thinking of it, imagine if my client had this detailed analytics that gave them the exact performance indicators that, hey, look, that's something only you as First Staffing is providing them, and frankly, others are not.
Okay.
So one way tech that we've seen helps is providing data to your end clients that is actually meaningful to them.
Right.
So for example, you're showing, look at our no-show rates. For this week, they were only 8%. Why was it 12% the following week? Hey, there was there was bad weather or something like that.
Right.
And so one area we've seen a lot of folks ask us about is just basic analytics for end clients.
Okay.
So that's one example.
Okay.
And the same thing could be looked upon on the recruiting side. So we would like, artificial intelligence to at least source the resumes, maybe not match them, but source the candidates, match the skills, but at least have a human being then at the end of the day, which is the recruiter,
Right.
making the final decision.
Right.
So that's one area that I think a lot of folks struggle is one on the talent acquisition side.
Right.
And then one is actually the reporting side to the end client.
Right.
And then you're sitting right in the middle. where you're approving time cards and you're processing payroll and so forth. So I guess the question really is that one area you think there's a pain point that technology can help you better today than where it's today?
When it comes to skill positions, I believe that that's where sometimes most of the time for our recruiters is being spent, especially with these clients that are specific as to what they need. And I'll give you an example for that. We currently have a customer service position available, and we open an Indeed ad.
Yeah.
And we're getting nothing but people that has worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But
I'm
it's not
paying
the fit.
$69 a day, where I've spent $600 already for the past week,
And you're not getting
and
the
I
right
have not gotten one good one. I believe that if there is a specific software that we can use where it has to be very detailed as to qualifications and not letting just anyone apply for any position, would definitely, save us time. If the ad says you have to be bilingual, you're calling people and they're not bilingual. And the reason why we need someone bilingual is because they will be dealing with customers out in Mexico. Not because we're being picky and we want people to be fluent in Spanish, but because it's something that it's necessary in order for them to communicate with their customers out in Mexico. So definitely, I would say a software where if we are posting, or if we are, let's say we have a subscription with, and we're posting jobs here, that software is matching exactly as to what we need, and we're not just letting anyone apply.
So it's the top of the funnel, the first point of contact with the candidate, right? I mean, that's where the voice AI comes in, right? But
right. Let's say, they get screened before submitting the resume. We already know that resume has what we need. It'll take 10, 15 minutes to, screen them over the phone, submit resume. And we saved an hour of, sourcing the resumes that have nothing to do with the position that we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely right. Number one pain point.
Number one, yes. I think that's the only challenge. The only thing that I would be excited for to see in 2025, when it comes to reporting and when it comes to us using WorkNow. Not that I'm here selling WorkNow, but it has changed our relationship with our clients because we're able to narrow down any reports that they need, specifically as to what they need, and these are being given to them weekly. Access is given to them as well. Limited, of course, as to we are the employer, so you are the supervisor. You're able to view. There's any changes you have limited access to. So definitely, especially with a high volume of employees, this has definitely saved us time. We were using another software prior to using WorkNow. Horrible. We were not able to basically customize any reports. It was just what was given to us. And with WorkNow, it has definitely changed. For every client, we're able to offer, provide them with basically what they need and not just, any report. So it definitely has changed. And the reporting side, I think we have narrowed down to what we want and what we need. And we're very happy about that.
Juliana, what keeps you up at night? What's the thing about the business that keeps you up at night, or nothing does, and you have
no? If I sleep 4 hours,
ones who don't sleep at night.
If I sleep 4 to 6 hours, it's a win. Definitely growth.
Okay.
Growth. I want more. I want to grow. At night, I think as to what I can do better for my company. That's the only time where I have a quiet time. No phones ringing, no emails coming in. And I have time to think as to what I want to do next. What can we better? If we had, any situation or any problems with whatever client, employees, workers comp, financial, anything, how can I better myself to make sure that we overcome any problems like that? So growth keeps me up at night every night.
Just growth.
Growth. Thinking as to how can I be better?
So it's a question that we ask, and it's basically taken from the Tim Ferriss show, is if you could take a word, a phrase, a picture, and you could put up on a billboard for everybody to see, and it would be on every screen you looked at. We had no choice. Like right now, if you had the magical power to change everything in the world, and you said, here's what you're going to look at, and it would be every TV, everybody's mobile, it's up there, and we all had to either read it or look at it. I know it's a tough one, but have you thought of something that you think you would like to put up there?
I have not, but a quick answer to that question would be having my logo up and for people to know who we are. For people to have the experience to say, I've worked with them before and they're amazing. That's my vision and my goal.
It's that brand recognition.
Brand
basically.
recognition. There you go.
What steps have you taken for that brand recognition? And a podcast is one of the things.
Right.
What have you done on your side that you feel that is, and that goes a long way.
Right.
It doesn't get built in a day. It takes a decade to build a brand.
Right.
It takes 1 minute to destroy it, right?
Right.
It's such a precious thing. What have you been doing? Not only, I know it's consistency of your uniforms, everybody is consistent. Are you pretty consistent about it across the board on everything about your brand?
I am very consistent when it comes to us either marketing, going out in the field, attending seminars, attending job fairs for the city, just making sure that our name is out there. I do believe us being out in job fairs with the city has taken us very far. We've acquired new clients that just because you don't see a lot of staffing agencies doing that. You don't see staffing agencies showing up for the community. I just feel like that has been a really good impact within First Staffing Group, that we are out anywhere we're invited, we show up. We show up, and not only that, I just feel like a lot of our clients have referred us to other potential clients, and that's how we have acquired new clients, where it's very proud for me to say that, what we offer, it's basically being delivered. Our service is there.
So that's brand, right? As
Yes.
it occurs. So going back a little bit, if someone was to start today, as a young 18-year-old that says, I want to look at the staffing business, this looks very interesting because, I've seen Juliana walk by. This looks like somebody who's successful, someone's, how
Right.
as young people,
Right.
others much older, we say, that's what I want to be. What would you advise them where to start and how to start?
I've always said it, for any business, you have to love what you're going to start. If it's something that you don't love, I believe that you won't be successful. And I just believe that having to open your own company, it's not easy. It's not just like, oh, I run it. I have flexibility. I'll be home. You have to put a lot of effort. You have to be there, and you're the leader. You're not the boss. You're a leader for your team. And if your team sees where you're leading them, then you're giving them a good example.
At least on my side, I've always felt sales is one of the biggest skills that in every business, if you can sell, you can probably survive.
Right.
What would you think should be changed in the staffing business? Is there anything that's an irritant to you for the staffing industry as a whole that you thought, gosh, I wish things would change? These could be things like, hey, everybody's going downhill on the markups just to get the business. Maybe enough training is not given. Is there anything that stands out to you that you wish was different in the staffing business?
Definitely, you mentioned it, markups. I'm not here to talk bad about anyone, but there is a lot of staffing agencies out there right now that are open 1 to 3 years, just there for the money, closing down, opening with new names, and messing everything up for those like myself that are here for the long run. I think we're all experiencing the low markups right now, ridiculous markups, where now it's either you try to work numbers or you're not acquiring new clients, which is very sad. And I feel like I mentioned before, maybe a lot of us could see each other as competition, but we should also see each other like a partnership where, we can have maybe a software, where we're running based on workers' comp codes, how it would, affect us if we go below a markup. For all of us to be on the same page, we will all win. Not because you're giving a lower markup means you're winning. You're not. You're just there for a short period of time because we know what's going on in back of this low markups. So definitely That's something that I would love for it to change in the staffing world, where we see each other as a partnership. We're in the same industry. Maybe have, like I said, a software or you name it, something where we would all look up to make sure that we're all offering the same thing. Same thing, meaning as staffing, markup. Obviously now, you have to build a relationship, because let's be very realistic. We can have two staffing agencies come in with the same markup. But if you have a personality and you're able to get that contract signed, then you're a winner. And that's just what staffing it's all about. But now it's like, well, we're coming in and they're like, well, can you match a 20%? Well, wait a minute. Where are you getting 20% from? If we're paying 21 point something just for taxes and, workers' comp and, FICA, SUDA, everything. So it's like, okay, well, maybe this is where we can all get together and change the staffing world so that we can all keep ourselves alive and we can all continue the staffing world.
And maybe it's that client you don't want to do business with.
Oh, and now I'll give you an example. Any potential client we go in and they basically tell me, well, can you match or lower? I tell my girls, that's a client that's not loyal. Yeah. That's a client that is just jumping to demonstrate their corporate office that they could save them money. And that's all we're looking for.
And that's short-term too.
Short-term, exactly. Yeah. So definitely, that's not a client we want to go in back of.
So having spoken about clients, let's talk a little bit about what could we do better for the temporary workers itself. One of the key tenets that when we had started Work Now was give the power to the temp as well on their mobile phone. So now they have a little better ability, not standing. I'll give you an example. We are seeing onboarding packages from between countries. A Canadian company, they also have stuff in US that we see them all the time. And I was shocked that sometimes it's 100 over pages for someone to review and sign. And one of the things that Work Now has always tried to do is how can we give the power to a temporary worker that the 10 things that they need they have, and which we do today, and that they could just walk up to an agency and say, listen, I only have the 10 things that you wanted, because all of us here have resumes. My LinkedIn profile is all I need to walk in.
Right.
And if I had my I-9 and W-4 correct, I'm done. I'm good to go.
Right.
And if I had my background screening also in my hand, you could probably make a decision on hiring me within the next, after the interview.
Right.
Versus, and if a temp's walking in and going through 120 pages in one agency,
right,
only Lord save them if they've got to go to 5 of them because they got to feed their family. And
I agree.
Workers. Have you thought of anything that could be improved on their life? We're constantly looking, because I believe we're the only software company out there that actually came from staffing. We know
and understand.
That and understand.
Right.
We understand the pain, the points. We are here to change that, right? Because the temp is as important as the client.
Of course. Without the temp, we're not there.
We're not there.
Right.
So have you thought of anything that changes more for the temp's life that we could do better for them?
For sure, an online application would, be beneficial for all the temps. Unfortunately, we, maybe 90% of our staff are Spanish speakers only and are not familiar with, a computer. And we've tried it. And I kid you not, they come in and they ask, do you guys have an online application or is it in paper? And if we let them know that they can go online, right away we get the question, can I get a paper application instead? So I just believe it's depending on the area and obviously on the positions that are being offered, the type of employees that you will get that are computer savvies. Every year, for the past 5 years, we basically go through our employee application and make sure that we minimize that package just to make sure that we're in compliance and make sure that we have what's important and go from there. Our package is about 10 pages long, and my girls are always, very helpful to whoever does not understand, and we're able to help there and then. But going back to your question, the online application will be the best idea for all the staffing agencies, I believe, where you have to apply online. It basically, saves times for the recruiters. Once we have applicants in the lobby, it's 4 or 5 hours that we basically take in order to process them when it comes to, a 99, a W-4, making sure that they have the correct documents, as basically verifying the E-Verify, all those stuff. Our application process is from 9 to 11, Monday through Thursday. So we're busy 9 to 11 because we have a lot of walk-ins. So definitely an online application will save.
Where they can just bring it to you guys.
Bring it to us.
Deliver it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And maybe just being able to give a universal application that they fill out one time, make copies for them and give it to them and say, here you go. Like Sammy walked in. I spent an hour, doesn't matter if it's your logo. Let's say it's not your logo even. It's a general application, generic, that I filled out. And then making copies for them and saying, here's 4 copies. Wherever you're going to go apply, just kick them this.
Right.
So now you've done a service.
Now you've done a service for them.
Right.
They'll always be thankful to you. So just a tidbit of an idea that if we have to go, digital doesn't mean good always, right?
Right.
So for that individual, what a life-changing experience that is, because now they don't have to go make copies. So now your recruiting, Juliana, is going to go up by 20%.
Right.
Because you just gave them something that allows them to be able to walk in anywhere and just say, listen, here you go. Even if it means filling out an I-9 and W-4, which is universal, a W-4, because every time, even all of us could make mistakes on a W-4.
Right.
Hey, 0 means they're going to deduct more, not deduct less.
Right.
And people wake up on,
And we'll have a call the next Friday. Hey, my check, I got deducted this much, of course. And then just to go back to this, I know with work now, we had an account where it was multiple agencies. And if the employee was already in the database, we would just transfer them over to us, which made it easy, meaning we just had to make sure the rules were there.
Yep.
And that was it.
and that was based on that premise.
And it was based on that
Agencies
premise.
work together.
It was over 10 agencies. If that employee was already assigned to work now with that date of birth and that phone number, even just with the phone number, it wouldn't allow us to add him. And we would just contact tech support, we'll transfer over to First Staffing Group, and we were
Done.
So that's definitely something that we enjoy at the time using it. That, let's be realistic. We had everyone enrolled in every agency around 10 miles from us. So we were just transferring employees back and forth as long as they were not active with the current agency that they were under. And that was it.
And I think it's a fallacy for someone to say that, oh God, this temp only belongs to me.
Right.
It does not exist that way. If everybody looked at that the temp needs a job, whoever can get them the job the quickest and put food on their table,
Exactly.
that's where they're going to go. And if you treated them with dignity and respect, you're going to get 10x out of it because they're going to refer you 20 other people. So the agency both you and I came from, right? And
Right.
then we worked maybe 5-8 years apart, and I spent a long time in it. One of the greatest things, the best recruiters had always a pool of 20, 30, 40 guys that were willing to go, guys and gals were willing to go night and day for that recruiter,
Right.
no matter where they had to go, because they knew this recruiter always sent them to safe places, made sure that they knew their schedule, knew about their family,
Right.
and were able to say, hey, Sammy, do you want to bring these folks along? I've got a great job. It's an easy job. You'll still get paid more. And that's what made the difference. So we still believe that even though technology comes in, you still have to spend quality time with the humans interacting,
Correct.
and hence why this is Humans of Staffing.
Yeah.
But Juliana, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Is there
guys.
anything you would like to ask us, or you want to give a shout out to your team? Shout out to yourself.
I do. I do.
All this time as you need.
I want to give a special shout out to my team. Without them, I would not be here. And just a little information about them, a little story. Most of my girls come from the agency I was with for 9 years. So they believed in me. We had no clients. I literally opened up and no clients. And they came along. It was COVID. They said, we'll go ahead and see where this takes us. And they're my managers for two of my offices. And one of them, it's my right hand, where whatever I'm thinking, she's thinking. So we are 2 in 1.
You're aligned.
So I just want to thank everyone in my team for being able to trust me with opening up a new company, and that I'm very thankful for them.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
So much.
Thank you guys.